I am considering online adult modeling, and keeping it a secret from my family. My husband, 26M, and I, 22F, have been behind on rent for legit 2 months straight. Our landlord has given us a pass because he likes us, but I know this month we are screwed. I have a friend that does online modeling, chats with guys on camera etc. I've never done it before, and I know my husband would not approve. I'm ashamed to admit that I'm even considering it but feel like we don't have other realistic options. My hope is to do it once or twice just to help with rent and never tell a living soul. I have joked with him about stripping and we both agree that men would pay to see me naked lol. We also agree that it's not an option. I don't want to lose our place. I feel so conflicted. I feel so sad for that little boy. His first real memory was when he was 2 or 3 and had to run to the neighbor's house to call the police because his mom sent him after his dad threw her down the stairs. His next memory was his dad holding a gun to his mom's head in the basement of the house they lived in when he was 4. Soon after, his mom took him and his brother to another state to start over. However, she fell into drugs really hard and both the kids were taken by CPS and put in foster care. He was about 7 at that time. The first day at foster care, their foster mom took them to McDonald's for Happy Meals and was really nice. But that night their foster dad started pulling his little brother's hair. In the next few weeks he was in foster care. Their real child would do horrible things like piss on his toys or his mom's bed, then tell them it was the foster kids who did it. They never believed the foster kids. That led to picking up the kids by their hair and slapping the shit out of them, calling them horrible names and threatening to kill them both. The kids couldn't sleep comfortably after that. 2 weeks later the kids' aunt showed up and took them in. The kids loved their aunt and their cousins and are thankful to this day for that. But when the kids told their aunt what the foster parents did, she shrugged it off and barely said 2 words about it. Even when they ran into the foster parents at a store and the boy reminded his aunt again. Eventually their mom got clean and got the kids back. She met a new man and they gave the boys a sister. When the boys were almost teens, both their mom and her new husband got into drugs again. Now the boys had the task of raising their little sister the best they could since their parents were only home to sleep during the day. 20 years later, that boy is writing this as a man who looks at his 7-year-old son who looks exactly like him and gets overwhelmingly sad for the kid he once was. Not sad for himself but for that child. It's a really hard thing to describe. I've disassociated from that kid and feel horrible about it. Like I abandoned him. Just like everyone else did. I make up for it by giving my son everything I never had. Sometimes to a fault. But I take solace in knowing he will never experience the things I did as a child. He'll never know what it feels like to have nobody want you. What it feels like have nobody listen. How it feels to watch your baby brother get tossed around by a grown man by his hair. How it feels to tell his little sister that her mom does love her but she's just sick right now. Life's a bitch because all that made me who I am. Which is someone I'm okay with. My mom and stepdad eventually got their shit together and did what they could to make amends. Our relationship is better now than ever before. My son will never know who they were when I was growing up. A Nigerian scammer got my mom and I feel it's my fault. I love my mom. She's not the brightest but she seriously tried her best in raising her kids with what little resources she had. After she sobered up and moved away from my abusive dad, I wanted to do something nice for her, so I used my student aid disbursement to get her a nice refurbished tablet. I thought social media might help her repair relationships with her distant family and knew she loved learning new things, so I loaded it up with educational apps and games. Upon giving it to her I gave her the warning I give all my friends: don't tell anyone your real name and believe me when I say there is nobody online who wants to give you money. Understood? She liked the tablet a lot, especially the games. She was able to reconnect to friends in her small Midwestern town, and Wikipedia is amazing, of course. 5 years go by and she tells me she's been talking to a man on social media. They are both playing the same game. He's the same age as her, retired Army now, having joined a Peace Corps type institution. He is currently stationed in Nigeria on a peacekeeping mission. Upon hearing the word Nigeria I immediately become suspicious. I ask her if he has shared any photos or if they have chatted, and she says because of the time distance they haven't been able to share a phone call. He did send her a few photos that she shared with my siblings and I reverse image searched the photos. They were nowhere to be found online, but going to the institution he works for find that the uniform he wears hasn't been used since the late 90s, confirming my suspicion that these photos were much older. I gather up my red flag evidence and present it to my mother. I warn her about romance scams and remind her that if he asks her full name or to send her money, to deny until you can share a video call at very least. She gets in a huff, really mad and defensive, telling me that I just never want her to be happy. How dare I rain on her parade? She stops talking to me. I warn my siblings. A year goes by and she calls us all somberly informing that he drained her bank account. She had saved up $2,000. It was more than she's ever had before. She had just put her car in for much overdue maintenance that would have cost $1,900. She was so happy to pay it to keep her work transportation running. That night her internet lover said he wanted to send her money so she could buy herself something nice, but he needed her full name and routing information. He drained her account except 37 cents. She lost her car. She lost her job. She lost her apartment. He tried to blackmail us by sending her nudes to her whole family. It's been years and mom won't talk to me anymore. I wish I never got her that tablet. I hate being a special needs parent. I am a parent of a special needs child and I hate it. I don't hate my child, but I hate that they won't ever be able to do the things that normal kids would. I hate that no one seems to fucking understand how I feel or what it's like. I get told shit like God knew you'd be a good parent to them. Or keep your hopes up. Or things happen for a reason. Let's be real. Being a special needs parent fucking sucks. You get jealous of seeing people with normal kids, you judge yourself and the things that your kid can do, which isn't much. My child will never call me by name. They probably won't ever speak. They don't look me in the eye, frankly nothing catches their attention at all. Every time they have a seizure I want to cry. I just hold them and pray to a God I don't even believe in anymore that the seizures will stop. I get angry with myself and my child because of the things they do that cause us both more problems. I love my child so dearly but I hate that they are special needs. They aren't differently abled, they are disabled. I fear that I will outlive my child every day, but I also fear that they will outlive me and end up in a group home where no one loves them. But most of all I hate myself for hating that they special needs. I know I am a shitty fucking person for it. Someone said to me once that maybe because my child has this issue that the doctors will learn how to treat it for someone else in the future. As awful as it sounds, I don't care that mine and my child's suffering might help someone else. I want / to not suffer. I get that that is selfish. If I could take my child's syndrome from them into myself I would. But of course I can't do that. Feeling this way makes me want to scream and honestly, give up. It all feels pointless, the therapies, the medicines, the appointments after fucking appointments. I just want it to stop. My autistic brother is losing his grasp on reality and I'm concerned my parents are enabling him. So first of all, backstory. Me and my brother have a more than decade-long age difference. I'm 34M and he's 22M. Our folks divorced when I was 3 and then got back together when they had him, and they're still married. Our childhoods aren't really the same, and I wasn't really around in his life at all due to me spending a substantial part of his early childhood at my grandparents and then joined the army when I turned 18. Only recently have I been living with him and my parents, due to the pandemic job market. My brother has autism and to put it bluntly in social interactions he makes Sheldon Cooper look like Don Juan. This was kinda hard on my parents, as they hoped to have a trophy kid to make up for the piece of shit I was in my childhood. I recall my dad started drinking a lot after my bro got his diagnosis, something I don't recall him ever doing before that. I don't remember him having any friends, nor do I remember him complaining about it either. He was not interested in things normal children his age liked, but weird obscure shit. He spent an entire summer talking non-stop about a girl from 5 states away who died from eating rotten spinach. He did good on tests though, so my folks came around to him. My parents say that when my bro reached middle school he hit a standstill and started declining. He refused to go to school, started holding himself in the house even more, and would have big mood swings that required him to go on psych meds. He's been in limbo since then and has never had a job except for some volunteer stuff for other mentally different people. When I would go to family gatherings my mom would end up crying and coming up with excuses for why he wasn't there. Eventually family just stopped asking about him. We all think he'd come around and still hope he does. Fast forward to 4 years ago. I left the military and started living my parents again while I went to college. Of course, the pandemic hit and that became more permanent. When I moved in my brother seemed like he had given up on life and had a downright suicidal tone to his voice that worse every year. I tried to help him out by talking to him, playing games with him, letting hang out with my old war buddies, but none of that seemed to work. Around a month ago he had his birthday. At first, I didn't think anything of it. He stopped celebrating his birthdays as a preteen, but while checking our family finances, I'm the household money guy, I noticed that my parents had bought a $2,000 gaming PC. I thought his was an error and brought it up to my parents. They should know it wasn't. They got it for my bros. It was the only thing he's asked for on his birthday or Christmas in a decade. I have to admit I was a little upset, as he was kinda spoiled in a way he didn't work for, but I noticed it made him happy as fuck in a way I've never seen before. He wasn't talking to us or having normal people interests like sports or lifting, but it seemed like his spark was back. But then he stopped eating and withdrew more. I decided to be a big brother for once in my life and tried to ambush him as he was using the bathroom. I asked him what's up, played any good games on that new computer of yours? Not really a game, he said. It's better, and brought me into his room to show me the most disturbing thing I've seen in my life, and I've cleaned up the bodies of Taliban soldiers who died shitting out their entire digestive tracts out. On his wall were hundreds of posters of anime porn posters. That was disturbing enough, but then I noticed that in some of the pics there was a dude railing them looked conspicuously like my bro. Then I noticed some of the pics have cut and pasted live-action photographs of my brother with his unique facial features and body type, fucking them. Before I could vomit, my brother made sure to tell me all about the art. He said that he uploaded pictures of himself naked to an AI program, that he had spit out the offending artwork. He thinks the anime girls are real, that he will be reunited with them in heaven after he dies, and that the government knows this but was trying to discredit it to keep the truth from being fully known. I then walked out and proceeded to hurl in the toilet. I had a very sleepless night and had to down half of my lasting medication to go to bed. When I woke up I deadest it was time to talk to my folks about this. During family breakfast, I brought up my brother's art and my parents both busted out laughing. "You just found out?" they nonchalantly said. When I pressed on about it, they said, quote-unquote, "Life for people like bro sucks. Let him have his fun. We all know he will never have a real girl, so let him have his cartoons." I really don't know what to do anymore. I want my brother to be happy, but I also want him to have a laugh and grip on the world.